Hello, everyone. Today is April 24th, 2022, and today is Sunday, so hopefully you guys are having a wonderful Sunday. My name is Chris. I am a concept designer. I've been in the industry for about 10 years or so now, worked with various companies such as Walt Disney Imagineering and Universal Studios in the creative department or creative division. And I'm here today with my friend Michael here. Yeah.
Hello, everyone. My name is Michael. I'm a semi-retired creative producer from the theme park industry, which is where I met Chris. We both work together at Walt Disney Imagineering and also Universal Studios. Um, and we are joining you here today because Chris and I are on this journey to learn how to make a video game. And we've been meeting for several months every Wednesday and Sunday to have design sessions and talk about how we want to make the game. And we decided, hey, let's start streaming these. So we turned a camera on, and here we are.
Yeah, and very happy to have you guys here. It's very low key, and uh, I'm trying to make it look, professional. But to be super honest, it's like very very laid back, very chill. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to leave a comment and or comment or question or suggestions. Please leave a comment down there, and we'll definitely interact, right? And so yeah, let's do a quick recap, Michael, and let's
Sure.
see where we were. Do you want to go first, or do you want me to go first?
Uh, why don't you go first this time?
Sure, sounds good. So hold on. Still getting used to it. I need to share my screen. Screen number 3. Boom. All right. So this is my Photoshop, and last week we talked about this guy right here, and
Yeah.
we also talked about this guy right here. And
Mm-hmm.
the homework was to find a way to make this stupid guy work because this guy was giving me or us a lot of trouble last week. And oh, let me just move this right there. Yep. And so I was like, man, I got to figure out a way to make this guy a little bit more easy to look at, make it more visually interesting from the front view, side view, and the top view. And I'll definitely share exactly what I did with that. And also we talked about how we want a version of this guy right here, and maybe clean him up a little bit and see how and what we can do with him later on.
Mm-hmm.
We also talked about the design of the hero ships. Now this is the backside view of the main hero ship that we're going to be using, because most of the time when we're playing a rail shooter, oh, we're making a rail shooter game, by the way, is that we're always looking at the rear side of the plane, and so I thought maybe I should design make silhouettes of what the backside look like, and it also helps to have a top side view as well, to give a general shape of the look and feel once we are in the game. Just basically come up with all these like various designs. And so yeah, that's about it on my end. How about you, Michael?
Sure. So, the let's see here,
Oh, do I
basically.
need to give you permission? Uh, oh, yes,
Um,
you have permission.
Let me click. There we go. Sorry, give me a second here.
Yeah, no
Share
worries, man.
screen, Unity. So I think this should be a pretty good facsimile to where we were last week. So Chris and I have kind of divided up the workload. Chris is producing all of the art assets, and I'm doing all the like game design and game programming. So I'm learning Unity. And what I've gotten so far over the couple of months that we've been doing this, or really a couple of weeks, I guess, for this particular tutorial, is I've created an environment and created a rail that's moving through that environment and is taking the player's ship in that environment. And you can use the WASD keys on your keyboard to move the ship around. And in addition to that, where the thing I had just added last week is the ability to, whoops, I clicked the scale button.
Ah,
Um, the ability to shoot. So if I click my mouse button, I can actually fire lasers into the scene now. And the place that I was last week, my homework assignment was to continue the tutorial, but the very next step was to find a way to get the lasers to actually collide with other obstacles. So when there
Hmm.
were, so if we add enemies to the environment, to be able to actually shoot the enemies down instead of just having lasers go right through them and not
Right.
really be able to do anything.
Right.
Um, so that's where I left off last week.
Nice. Nice. Ah, so cool. By the way, I don't know if it's the adjustments to the OBS, but the gameplay, what you're showing, is so much smoother than what we looked at the first time we saw
Oh,
this. Because the
cool.
first time we saw this, the plane was like choppy, but now it's actually
Really?
running really well. Yeah.
Wow. Well, then, yeah, whatever you did behind the scenes to optimize your stream, I guess that's what's working
Yeah.
because I didn't change anything on my end.
Yeah. Yeah. Man, that looks so cool.
I can't wait to add sound effects to this. It's going to sound great because right now
Yeah.
it's just totally silent. But yeah, so I've got some fun stuff to share
Nice.
in this update when we get there.
Do you want to just go ahead and take it away, or do you want to switch it
Oh,
over to
sure.
me?
Yeah, no problem. So the punchline is I completely figured out how to do that, how to get the collision detection with the lasers to work,
Excellent.
which to kind of share a little bit of how that goes. Up here in the editor, on the player ship, I have a couple of different scripts attached here, including the player control script and
Uh-huh.
also this collision handler. The collision handler is the script that figures out how to detect when the lasers are touching things.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And it's basically which one is here? Collision on trigger. Oh, this was something that was really crazy and frustrating. And I'm going to share this with you real quick. Give me a second. I need to open, whoops. Dev. So basically what it was is Unity, the way Unity deals with collision detection is so much more complicated than I imagined.
Mm-hmm.
Because like one of the things you can see in Unity is when I click on an object like my player ship here, they have these things called colliders. Like you can see this one's got a mesh collider, and I've
Right.
also added a box collider.
Right.
And you can actually see that in the editor here. If I uncheck this box collider, you can see that little invisible rectangle that surrounds the ship. Or
Oh,
maybe
I
it's
see
a
it.
little
Yeah,
easier to
yeah,
see
yeah. There you
this
go.
way if I move over
Thank
here.
you. Yeah, perfect. Awesome.
So yeah, if I turn it off, it kind of like it's not really bold anymore, so you can't really
Mhm.
see it. There's also something called a mesh collider, which is you can see when I turn that on, you've got these like green lines that uh, basically map to the surface of the polygons of the ship.
Mhm. Mhm.
So mesh collider is like a little bit more complicated, but there's certain aspects of Unity, at least with the tools that I'm using in this tutorial, that
Mhm.
don't support the mesh collider. So I have to use a box collider, which is fine. I can figure out how to do the mesh collider thing later, but for now, basically it's a volume that Unity can use to determine when two objects are touching each other. So if I were to, create a new 3D object here, like let me just give myself a sphere.
Mhm.
This sphere has a sphere collider. If I turn off the mesh renderer, don't worry about that for now, but just, basically the sphere collider here is it's showing this volume that can detect when the sphere is actually touching the collider for the ship. So when these two volumes, the box collider for the player ship and the sphere collider for the sphere, touch each other, Unity can detect, oh, there's a collision there. Like these two things touched each other.
Right.
And so that's what's happening here in this script. It's basically this piece right here that says on collision enter.
Right.
It's just a way of detecting like, oh, two things, the block or the collider volumes for two things touched.
Mhm. Mhm.
However, It's not that simple. I thought it was, but it's actually quite a bit more complicated. And if I go to the Unity documentation, um, and I scroll down, there is a collision action matrix that, because there were things that are really frustrating where I was like, man, I've got these two things set up, but they're, when they come into contact, nothing's happening. What the heck? And it turns out that there are different types of colliders and different things you can turn on and off for colliders. And
Mm.
depending on what you have turned on and off for each of the things that are colliding, so in the case of like the player ship, depending on which things you have turned on and off and attached to the ship, and depending on which things are on or off or attached to the sphere or the other object that you're colliding with, a collision may or may not happen. So you can see here, like if you have two objects that have the static collider, which is basically just that very basic volume that I showed you,
Right.
if that's the only thing that those two objects have and they come into contact with each other, no collision happens. In order for a collision to actually occur, you have to have a
Rigid
rigid
body.
body on at
Oh,
least
okay.
one of those things.
Got it.
But if one of those things has a rigid body and the rigid body is set to kinematic, which I can
Oh, then
explain in a
no.
second, then the collision doesn't happen anymore. Uh, and if you have two things that are, both have rigid bodies, then they'll definitely collide with each other. And anyway, and by the way, the kinematic thing, basically what that means is like a rigid body makes sure that the object acts as though it actually has physical form. So when it touches other things, it'll bump into them instead of
Sure.
just passing through them.
Right.
Uh, Kinematic, though, what that means is that it actually, I guess and again, I'm still learning this. I'm not an expert. It still has some of the properties of the rigid body, but the object cannot move or will not bounce off of things. It will only respond to when you change the transform, which is like the component that tells that you use to tell Unity where that object is in the world, or that
I
Unity
see.
tells you where it is in the world. And so for some reason, when you turn that on, then there's like a whole bunch of other parameters where it's like, okay,
Oh,
now it's going to behave differently. Um, and that's not all. Like it's not just collisions. There's also this whole other set of things called triggers, which are basically,
sure.
it's still detecting when volumes are touching, but it's not causing them to collide with each other. And so then again, so this matrix down here shows you like, okay, well, if I've got my player ship and it's got a collider and it's got a rigid body, and it collides with an object that's got that's set to trigger, that whose collider is set to trigger, then I'm going to get a trigger here, but I'm not going to get any collisions with these sorts of things.
That's so
Um,
interesting. 'Cause yeah, I thought that, just put a rigid body modifier on it and bam, done. But apparently there's like a whole bunch of different types of colliders.
Yeah. And I,
I had
I
no
even
idea.
thought it
Wow.
was simpler than that. I thought it was like, oh, I got my player ship here. It's got a collider. So
Mm-hmm.
anything else that has a collider, it's going to detect they're crashed into each other, but that's not the case.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can see under here too, you've got, this thing is like is trigger. When for each collider that you have, if that's checked, that's when it moves to the other matrix of like, okay, this thing is now behaving like a trigger instead of
Sure.
a collider or whatever. And
Right.
then under rigid body, this is where you can do, use gravity or is kinematic. And you can kind of toggle those things on and off. So if I turn this one on, then this becomes that kinematic
Kinematic
rigid
rigid
body that
body.
we
Right.
saw,
Yeah.
which has this. So anyway, all of that is just to say that there was a whole part of the lesson of the tutorial of like, okay, here's the matrix. You need to make sure you're referencing this because otherwise you're going to get behavior that's going to be really frustrating because you're going to have things set up. You're like, why isn't this thing colliding with the other thing? And that's
Mm-hmm.
that's possibly why.
I
So
would not have
anyway,
looked at the manual at all. I mean, I'm that
yeah,
lazy person. So thank goodness you're the person that is learning this, because I would not. I would just start punching my computer monitor and be like, "Why is this not working?"
it's
And
so
and
frustrating.
yeah, I'm glad that you're able to discover that little matrix chart. So good job, man.
Sure. Well, I mean, I got to give the credit to the course that I'm taking. That's
Hmm.
where
Hmm.
they they were the ones who tipped me off. Like, hey, here's why this may or may not be happening.
Right.
But anyway, to kind of get to the punchline, um, thanks to I was able to follow along with the tutorial, and we got the laser collisions working successfully. And so one of the things that I've done,
Excellent.
actually, I'm going to delete this sphere. I have added a bunch of just sort of like dummy
Oh yeah.
spheres in the game, so that way we can shoot those. And so now if I run the game, I can shoot as normal. And if I shoot this white sphere, it disappears,
Nice.
which is great. And another thing you can see too is in here, this debug log is detecting when things are getting hit by lasers, which is kind of like a programming trick. When before you're ready to program in the actual like actions that things take, you can just print a feed out to the console to ensure like when this happens, print to the console that that happened. That way I know that the code is working. And then if the
Oh,
code isn't working, that won't print out. So then you know, like, okay, I got to
got
go
it.
back in and figure out,
Right.
why isn't
Mm-hmm.
this working? But
Mm-hmm.
anyway,
Mm-hmm.
so there you have it. I was able to get these like objects that we can shoot. Of course, it's not very flashy right now. They just kind of blink out of existence.
Sure, sure.
But the next part of the tutorial is going to be adding like an explosion effect. So when
Oh,
you shoot them, they can actually blow up. Um, and then also, I'm also going to add collision. This was one thing that you can see that the
oh,
ship
sure.
flies
Yep.
through the
Mm-hmm.
terrain.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I was trying to get that done today to like add collision for the environment, but Unity didn't like that, and
Mm.
I was running into some trouble. But hopefully by next time I can have that working as well.
Yeah.
And yeah, that is
Well,
about it.
oh, good job, man. That's great. Now we have enemy ships in there that we can shoot at. So now
Yeah,
this is actually quite interactive, which is great. Man, I love the fact that we're like flying through this environment. This is so cool.
yeah. I mean, technically, with what is built into this now, we actually could make a game. Like, I mean, it'd be very simple and wouldn't be
Sure.
very
Yeah.
uh, polished,
Right.
but yeah, the basic pieces are there. Oh, and one other thing that was kind of interesting that I thought is in the player ship for the lasers, it's player controls. Where was that? There is maybe it was in, oh, I know where it was. It's in my prefabs for my laser. Yeah, here we go. So there's this interesting effect with the laser. When the laser collides with something, you
Mm-hmm.
kind of basically tell it what to do. Like you can tell it to destroy itself or interact with the environment. And right here, what I have it set to is like to actually, if it's moving when it collides with something, if it's moving at at this speed or basically like when particle collides with their speed that is higher than this value, they're killed.
Mm.
So if I set this, and currently the lasers travel at 80
Mm.
units
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
per second or whatever. So if I increase this to like 100, uh, now the particles are still traveling at 80, and so they're not traveling fast enough to be killed. And there's this really interesting effect that happens. I'm not sure. I don't think it is appropriate to leave it in the final game. Maybe in certain moments or certain there might be an opportunity to use it in a special case, but as just like the base behavior of the lasers, I think it's a little crazy, but I think it's pretty cool. And basically, the lasers ricochet off of the environment, so you have this like
Sigma
crazy,
effect.
yeah.
Impact.
It reminds me a lot of I don't know if Hanzo was like this in Overwatch when you started playing, Chris, but Hanzo used to have this ability called scatter arrow,
Oh,
where
are
he
you
would shoot
serious?
one. Yeah, he had he'd shoot one arrow and it would split up into multiple arrows that
What?
would like ricochet all over the place. It
What?
was it was so OP that they
Uh-huh.
took it out of the game
Oh,
because he
sure.
would fire it and it would like kill whoever was near it because they would
You
just be
know,
getting brutalized by all these Hanzo arrows. So
that
anyway, it's cool.
yeah,
But yeah, I think there might be certain cases where this could be used, but as like the primary laser, I think it's better to just have it disappear when it hits something.
sure.
Though I would like to add some additional effects so you get feedback when you see it hit something.
Mm,
There's like a little puff or
hmm.
uh, a bullet hole or something,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
laser scorch mark.
Yeah, because it's always cool. I mean, there's a lot of movies. For example, one that's coming off of my mind right away is when Iron Man, for example, when he gets hit by bullets, you see like little sparks like coming off of his armor, and so that little
Yeah,
interaction of like bing, you know, that definitely
exactly.
will add to the experience. To be honest though, when you were explaining the whole max kill speed thing is, I thought that the particle is traveling at 80, and then when you edit it to 100, I thought you were editing the the enemies, the little circles, so that when you hit them, because they are not affected by, because right now you said, this lasers are at 80, and I thought you were changing to the bad guys to 100, and then so the lasers are not in effect, won't affect the bad guys because 80 is less than
Mm,
100. So I was thinking like, what if in the game we could put like a booster button that will boost our velocity, that will amp up the our speed so that 80 plus, I don't know, 20, we amp it up by 20. Then the only way we can kill the enemies is if we put that boost of
fast enough.
20, so we're fast enough so we could actually kill them.
Yeah, that's an interesting thought.
Yeah, but anyways,
And
that's just
no, yeah, because one of the other things that I thought of too is like, oh, it'd be really cool if the enemies had HP, so like they didn't die the instant they get hit by
sure.
one of the lasers. And sure enough, that I looked ahead, and that's coming up in the tutorial. We're
Nice,
going to get to a
nice.
point where we're going to get to add
Very
enemy
cool.
HP.
uh
So
we
yeah,
Poop with Sprinkles is here. I just got here, but I have to leave again. Why does being busy have to be so hard? Hey, no worries, man. Thank you so much for being here, Poop with Sprinkles. We're just glad to see you here. And whatever you're doing, good luck, and hope to see you back, man.
yeah. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah. But yeah, Michael, that's awesome job, dude. I can't wait to see the next iteration. This is great.
Yeah. And that's pretty much it. The only, I mean, there's some other like under the hood things that I learned how to do. Like for example, in I guess the player controls, uh, a bunch of this gibberish up here that says like header and tooltip and all serialized field and all this stuff is basically a way that I can you can see like this is a little bit more organized than it was
Hmm.
before.
Hmm.
So I added this like ship movement settings heading and ship
Mm,
laser list. And then I added, if you hover over these, it'll actually give you a little tooltip that I wrote that says like,
right.
limits how far the ship can go up and down on the screen, which I
Nice.
thought was actually kind of neat. When we get to the point where maybe I'm handing off something to you to like,
Right.
hey, play test this level, and you want to
Right.
adjust things, be like, ooh, this enemy right here, I think needs to have more health. We can have control setup in here where you can uh, be adjusting things. And if you're like, oh man, Michael explained what this was, but I don't remember, what does control speed do? And then you could just
Mm,
hover over this and you get a little tooltip there.
hmm.
So
Hmm.
that I thought like, that's a neat collaboration uh,
Yeah.
feather to put in my hat.
Yeah. And makes it
And
easier for me too. So thank you for that.
sure. And I think that's it.
Very cool, man. Good job, dude.
Thank you.
Sweet. All right. Let me go ahead and, well, hold on. I don't want to end it. Ooh, I want to share screen and screen number 3. All right. So Michael, did you get a chance to take a look at these guys? Did you get a
I
chance
did.
to pick the ones that you like?
Yes. I basically, yeah, I've got notes here with notes for each one.
Uh-huh.
Let's start with the rear view ships.
Okay. Here we go. And obviously, these are not final, so
Sure.
these are all just in development.
Okay, so I'll kind of like run through my
There you
like
go.
general notes first, and then we can talk about which one we're uh, excited about moving forward with or doing more with.
Hmm.
Okay, so for number one, uh, I like this one. And I thought this was interesting because it's like the most angled of the bunch. Like a lot of them, they kind of have like straight wings, or there's like a little bit of bend on the side of the wings. But this one, like the wings are kind of like angled down,
Sure.
which I thought was cool. The other thing that was that this popped into my mind, and I started to look at the other ones with this in mind, is that um, number one, compared to a lot of the other ones, feels like thin. Like they're like the components of it feel pretty thin. Like at least especially when you're looking at a profile, the amount of real estate it's taking up on screen
Hmm.
is smaller, which I thought, that might actually be something to lean into. So that way the ship is blocking less of the screen for the player. The player can see more stuff.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
or that could be a very deliberate design decision if we decide to add additional ships. Maybe the smaller ships that are thin like this, maybe they move faster and take up
Right.
less screen space. You
Uh-huh.
see more, but maybe they have less HP and so they're easier to kill. But the
Right.
other ships that are like bigger and take up more space move slower but have more HP. It's almost kind of like the DPS tank
Sure.
dynamics where the DPS characters are small but they're real squishy, and the tanks are really hard to kill. They have a lot of health, but they're also huge targets.
Yeah. Right.
Um, so so that was something that I thought with that one could, because I really did like the sort of thinness of the profile there.
Nice.
Okay, so that was thoughts on number one. Number two, and several of the ones in that sort of column there. I'm gonna get my little note, my drawing pad thing. Where's my? Is this not awakening? My tablet is not responding. Okay, here we go. Annotate. A couple of these, like I would say in this column here,
Hmm.
um, these all feel a little bit too UFO-like to me.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, yeah, a little like space saucer, which I can could be okay, but I feel like more fighter jet style ship would be more appropriate for the player ship.
Hmm.
Um, so that's my thoughts there. All right, number three, not of the overall design, I think it's maybe a little bit too chonky, like it's a little
Hmm.
bit too big and burly. But I do
Hmm.
like the afterburners. Like I think what's going on with that exactly. Those little guys, I was like, oh, that's kind of neat.
Hmm.
Um, we have to be careful with that, not to make them so prominent that they're like, this bright focal point blasting in the player's face the
Right.
whole time. But neat to see them. Um, Number four, I really like, I- and I especially like those the tail fins that are kind of like angled like that. I think those are pretty cool.
Uh-huh.
Five, I'm kind of like lukewarm on. It feels like a bubbly variant of number one. It's not good or bad. I'm, kind of just like neutral on that one.
Right.
Six
By
is
the
the
way,
UFO one.
you don't have to go through each and every one. I fear that you're gonna go through all of them.
We'll be here for
Just
3 hours.
yeah, just to make this a little bit more quicker, I would just say which one are the ones that pops out to you like, this is I like elements of 18, the thrusters, I like the angle of 23 or something
Sure.
like that. So yeah, don't feel you have to go through like all 1 through 32.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah,
I really like number eight. In fact,
number 8.
that's probably my favorite on this in this set.
Right. Okay.
Um, Number 13, I don't like because it looks too much like an F-16 to me, like an
Okay.
actual jet.
Mhm.
Um, let's see here. So 16, 17, 18, 16, 17, 18, 19, like that whole set there. I think those are pretty cool. I've got some like minor notes on each one. Um, I also like 21 through 23 are also pretty cool.
21
Um,
through
yeah,
23.
21, 22, 23,
Uh-huh.
I think are pretty cool. And then also 17, 18, 19. These two are interesting. I like this sort of like this wing shape that I call like the carrying groceries wing shape.
Uh-huh.
Um, is interesting. I think, and I think it would work well for the way the laser particle effects work in the engine.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so that one I think is also kind of cool. And the rest I'm kind of hit and miss on. But yeah, the ones that I like the most are probably um 8 and 4, and then aspects of these 6 down here, bits and pieces of them.
Okay.
Oh, and
8.
then I guess yeah, there are parts of one that I like quite a bit too.
Right.
Is
The
is
thinness, right?
the thinness, the angle, yeah, and then like
Got it.
these tail fins are just, man, really
Nice.
juicy. I like those.
Nice.
Um, is that narrow enough? Do you want me to
No, that's
dive?
perfect.
Okay.
So aspects of these 6 down here, and then
hmm
you definitely like 4 and 8, and then you kind of like the angle of 1 and these little
hmm
fins on top. Okay, great.
And like at a
Okay.
high level, like
Oh, shoot.
to kind of um explain or sort of like guide why I liked those ones, or the sort of the pieces that I was drawn towards and the other pieces I was drawn away from,
Mm-hmm.
like the sort of like chunkiness, I moved away from the UFO type thing. I moved away from. Um, I like the sort of like longer, thinner wings, the
Mm-hmm.
different types of angles created between the different components. Some amount of afterburner visibility is cool. And I also like with these guys down here, I like the kind of hard to describe, but it's basically just like the shapes you were creating with the different pieces. They create like so many neat changes in angle and volume, that I thought was really cool. But I generally like the profile of like the sort of like, I don't know, cat ear type wing tip
Mm-hmm.
things.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, and then with wings that kind of like taper out, which will also, I think, play into what we'll talk about when we look at the plan view silhouettes.
Nice. Do you want to do that right now? The plan
Sure.
view?
Yep, we can
Nice.
switch to
All right.
that.
Cool. Which
Uh,
one? Maybe
the one that, yeah, that one.
this one. All right. Cool.
Okay, so a lot of notes here. The high level note that I have for this one is there are a couple here. I think it's number 3, number 41 and 42. All of these have something interesting that I think is happening. They're not necessarily my favorite. They could
Oh.
be, but
Uh-huh.
what as soon as I saw this, like something that jumped out to me was like, whoa, there is a sort of like design uh style with like having this narrow fuselage that is kind of separated from much bigger, fancier, kind of bombastic looking wings.
Uh-huh.
That could be the sort of style of the game where like all of the player ships have that style where you've got these like big crazy wings. And so you could almost think of it like like Pokemon creatures have this certain style, and so people are like, oh yeah, I'm going to draw a Pokemon creature, and you'll draw something that's trying to live in that world.
Mm-hmm.
This, I think, is a design aesthetic that can fit into that bucket of like, oh yeah, people who are fans of the game will draw like this is a ship that could fit in Michael and Chris's rail shooter game
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
because they all have this sort of design grammar to them.
Right.
Um, And so I thought that was, especially the idea of like having these big, fancy, sophisticated wings. I thought like, oh, that might be really neat.
Yeah.
Because it almost makes the ship look kind of like a dragon or something, right? Where the wings are
Mm.
like the actual wings of the creature.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, so anyway, that was like one of the very first thing that jumped out to me. Another
Nice.
thing that jumped out was we kind of start small here, and by the time you get down here, these things are quite large,
Yeah.
uh,
Sorry about
which
that.
is cool. No, 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 that's totally fine. Because that made me think like, ooh, that's interesting. If and when we get to the point where we can do like player progression, maybe you start with like a really small dinky ship
Yeah.
that, and then
Yeah.
by the end, you've got this big badass thing that's like super upgraded.
Right.
And or maybe, back to the DPS tank thing, maybe, that's the trade-off. Is like the big one
Mm.
is slow but has a lot of firepower and armor, and the little one is fast and nimble, doesn't do as much, or maybe does a lot of damage, but it also can't take a lot of damage. I don't really know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so those are kind of like a couple of the high level things. Oh, and another high level thing that I kept making the same note was there were several of these that I really liked, but I was like, maybe the wing should be a little bit bigger. Like for example, yeah, like number 5 here. I really like this one. I just feel like the wing should maybe be a little bit bigger.
Got it.
And I felt that way about several of these. Like, number 19 here, same sort of thing. Like, what if those wings were just a little bit bigger? Um, so let's see. Okay, so with that said, those are kind of like the high level notes. Now I'll tell you the ones that I really liked. Number 18 and 19, I love.
Oh, sorry. Hold on.
Um,
I'm changing colors right now.
sure, no problem. Take your time.
17, 18, you said?
18 and 19.
Oh, 18 and 19. Oh, this right here.
Um, I also really love number 28. However, on number 28, if the wings, again, like the wingtips, if you add those wingtips, and also the guns maybe should be shorter relative to the cockpit. Not a lot shorter, but a little bit shorter. Right now, they're so prominent, they're almost the same size as the like fuselage.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, let's see, number 35, I love. Uh, yep, and that one I don't think I like the my wingtip note doesn't really apply to that one. I think those wings are actually pretty good.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Number 43, I also love. Oh, this one I thought was interesting though, because I would also like to see a variant where we take this little fuselage piece
Mm,
and
mm-hmm.
and flip it, mirror it that way, just to see what
Mm.
it looks like.
Well,
Um,
hold on. I mean, you don't have to.
I guess we could do that in real time
Yeah.
and then move it. I would move it like up more. Hmm. Maybe it needs to be longer too. I don't know. That's not quite working out as well as I had envisioned. There you go. Actually, okay. Now you're getting there. Yeah, that's looking cool. Because one of the things I really like about this is this wing shape, like that, where the wings are kind of coming back like that, giving
Uh-huh.
it this sort of like, they're almost like a physical version of contrails,
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
which is kind of neat. So anyway, yeah, I like that one. I think those are all the ones that were my like top of the line favorites. And I would probably add number 5 to that list too of like loves. Um, yeah.
Oh,
So, and then there were a couple others that I liked, not quite as much. Number let's see here. Oh, we already talked about 3. Number 5. Um, Number 8 I thought was cool, but I think only as a possible variant if we do the thing later on where we're like, oh yeah, we're gonna give the player the choice to do a lot of different ships, then maybe that one could be like a cool, because it was kind of like an insect-like thing. I was like, oh man, that one might be a neat variant. Maybe it's like colored purple or something.
sorry, you said number 8?
You don't need to circle number 8. I
Oh,
think that's,
oh.
yeah, it's cool, but I think let's revisit that one when and if we're like, yeah, we're gonna add a bunch of other ships to the game.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, Number 12 I like, but I think the cockpit is too spiky. Maybe it should be more singular.
Hmm.
Um,
That looks like a bad guy ship to me because
yeah,
spikiness. Yeah.
totally. Let's see. Where's number 21 is cool, but more wings, more wingtips.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, Same thing with 22. It's cool. 23 is also cool. Um, yeah, I don't think I really need to go through the rest of these. The ones that you have circled are the ones that I I really like. And looking at
Cool.
what is circled, um, probably, well, I love number 19, but it also looks too close to an R-wing, which, the ship from Star Fox. So maybe we should probably do something a little bit different.
You said 19?
Um, yeah, I like it, but the profile is very, very close to an R-wing. So we
Really?
should,
Yeah.
yeah,
Interesting. Oh,
explore
okay.
other options. But yeah, so I don't know. Those are the ones that I thought were pretty cool. Maybe
Should
we
should
can,
I should I not look at 19 then?
well, maybe keep it as a reference. I don't know. Yeah,
Because
maybe let's in order to deviate from Star Fox, yeah, maybe
sure.
let's, as much as I like it, let's leave it alone. Let's leave it on the
Okay.
cutting room floor.
All right.
Okay. You want to do the next
Yeah.
one? Oh, any feedback from the chat on these? It's like, no.
No, I don't think
Okay,
unless we
great.
got disconnected, I don't think we got any feedback
No
yet.
problem. Okay. Oh, so high level note, I really like the edge line that's running like through the body that kind of like creates these design patterns and separates the different shapes.
Hmm.
If
Hmm.
we can find a way to somehow incorporate that into the final design, that'd be really cool.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, because it looks amazing in silhouette. And so yeah, if there's a way to carry that forward into, because I know once we actually start getting texture and different colors and
Mm,
all the different components and stuff, a lot of that
it'll get
might
lost.
start to, yeah, exactly.
Right.
But the more we can do to preserve it, that would be really cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so starting with the ones that there were a lot of these that I really liked actually. In fact, most of them I really liked. So I'm gonna just identify the ones that I put like 3 stars for, which was like my max.
Hmm.
And then and then I'll take a look at those and give you, hopefully narrow it down. All right, so number 4 and 5 I really liked.
Yeah, I like those too. Yep.
Um, oh, but the same note about those is like additional wings maybe.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, Number 9 I liked a lot. Uh, Number 14 and 15 I like. Number 17 and 18,
17, 18.
especially number 18. I've got an extra note there about how much I like that one. 22, 24, and 25.
Uh-huh.
Let's see here. Number 43,
43. Okay.
number 45.
45.
But the parts of it are just a little bit too spiky, like
Oh, sure. Right, right, right,
these
right.
things right here.
Hmm. Hmm.
Feeling a little stabby.
Stabby, stabby.
Number 49, really love this one, especially the repeating pattern of the gun tips and the overall gun shapes. That kind of like this recurring motif. It really makes that
Hmm.
thing feel like it's like a flying fortress. I thought that was pretty cool.
Nice.
And number 54, just with more wingtips on that one. So those were the like top picks for me. Though
Nice.
there were a lot of others that I really like, but in the spirit of narrowing down, um, of the ones that I circled, like which ones are you pretty excited about?
I like 9. Well, hold on, hold on, hold on. I like. Actually, now I'm looking at it. 9 and 25 kind of look very. They have the same shape a little bit, but I was gonna
Mm-hmm.
say 9, but I was also looking at 25. 25 is nice too. Um, and I like 4. I'm curious as to how it'll look with the extra added wingtip, because I do agree, like having it a little bit wider so that when it's flying, pitching and yawing or whatever it is, it gives it a bit, it's
Mm-hmm.
more dynamic, right? But yeah, I agree with all the ones you picked.
Cool. Okay. Then there we go. Let's
All
just
right,
proceed from there. Yeah, I think I still like of those, my favorite is probably 18.
18.
Hmm.
Okay, cool.
But
And
I'm not saying we have to go with that one, but yeah, that one
right,
is pretty cool.
nice.
And
And you
then
said you had an explanation for that?
for number 18,
Yeah,
what did I write here? Uh, do, do, do. Nope. But I just had a note that was like, really love this one.
nice. Okay, good, good,
So
good,
yeah,
good to know.
just really
Cool.
like that one.
Yep, that's all. That's all I need to know. Okay, with that said, I mean, number one, you can't have it all, Michael. You have to choose
I
one.
know.
Just joking. Um, and obviously, I will do my best to um do number 18. Yeah, because I mean, I think 18 is nice looking as well. Um, so I guess the question for me is, well, what's the next step for me to for this? Because essentially we looked at the these as well as the back. So I think I need to find a way to combine the top view with
Hmm.
the ass view. Um, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That would be mm, my suggested homework, I guess, would be to start exploring
Hmm. Hmm.
of the rear views that we picked and the plan views that we picked, which ones can actually work
Work
together.
together. Yeah. Yeah. It's like a
And
hybrid
then we can
between
take a
two.
look at that list and be like, okay, of these, which one do we like?
Yeah. Okay. I
Is
think
that
I
a
know what to go
is that a
ahead.
reasonable
That's
homework
very
assignment?
that's a very reasonable assignment, and I'm definitely going
Okay.
to struggle with it because again, I've never done this before, especially freaking spaceships. But hey, I'll learn. I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out. I'll
That's the
struggle.
attitude.
Yeah, I'll struggle like a mofo, but we'll get her done. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Cool. Cool. Thank you so much for reviewing these, man.
Sure.
I know looking at a lot of these, it's like after a while they start looking the same, at least to me.
Mm.
But obviously, if you like look at it individually, uh, when we actually make these, hopefully the 35 is kind of cool. I think that's pretty
Yeah,
nice.
I like
Yeah,
35 a lot
35.
too.
Um,
I mean, especially this set, this last set we looked at,
mm-hmm,
um, I like almost all of them. I had to
mm-hmm.
work pretty hard to pick, like, to, to elevate certain designs above the others, because most of
Right.
these I thought like, oh man, that's super cool.
Yeah. No, thanks, man. I was definitely in the zone when I was drawing these. Put
Yeah,
on
these
some
are great.
Overwatch music and just start painting away, and it's fun. This process is a lot of fun. It's when you're actually making it like in 3D, then it's like, oh God, this is so hard. So that will be my challenge for my homework is to make these guys work.
You got this.
Cool, 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 cool. All right, now I'm gonna save and I'm going to press save. I should have opened the PSD instead of a JPEG. I was trying to be smart, but it backfired. All right, I have to save it again. Cool. Thanks, Michael. All right, the next thing I want to look at is this mofo that gave me such a
Yeah,
hard time and as well as this guy right here.
the attacker bot and the missile bot.
Okay. So, what I will say that Michael, I am full of shit in that remember how I said, "Oh yeah, I have to first get it down on orthographic view first before I could do it in 3D." So, I went against my own philosophy and I
Okay.
just basically thought, you know what? I'm gonna be stuck here drawing it in like the profile view and just trying to get it done correctly. So I went ahead and brought these
Straight into Blender.
guys and straight into motherfracking Blender,
Hell
motherfracker.
yeah.
Boom.
Ooh.
So this
Whoa,
is what
cool.
I have done. Let me put it in
Whoa, yeah.
so this is
Man, I
like,
love what you did
oh
with
shit.
the wing tips where they're kind of splayed out like that.
Oh,
That's
oh yeah.
really cool.
So
And it's kind
this
of like a recurring yeah. Wow, good job, dude. I'm loving this thing.
that's great. I'm so glad to hear that. This is why is it doing that's sorry. I'm trying to get it oriented correctly.
Sure.
Zoom out and
It's having
then
a hard time.
zoom and
Oh
then
man, cool. I love the gun.
we could play with the shape of the gun, but right now it's all about massing. It's all about squinting your eyes from far away. It's like, oh, it's coming
Yeah.
right at us, and it's like, oh, I'm flying towards it, and oh, you know,
Yeah, man. Some like super
oh shit,
tiny minor notes, but overall, I love what you did. Like this is great, I think.
awesome, awesome.
How do you feel about it? Are you pretty happy with this? Or would
I'm
you like,
I'm
it's work in
much
progress?
I'm much much happier with how this turned out than um than what I drew last week.
Mm-hmm.
This is from the bottom. This is from the top, from the side view, front view. Pew, 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 pew.
Yeah, that is awesome, man.
So this is like from far away.
Yeah, even that tiny, it's still like that silhouette reads very clearly.
Yeah. Pew, 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 pew. All right. So yeah, what are your initial notes? I could definitely send screenshots of this to you, and you could think about it a little bit more. But just your first reaction, what do you like, and what do you think is not working?
Um, the first thing that really jumped out at me is if you go to a side profile shot of the thing,
Hmm.
um, the fins on the wings, um, well, even when I look at it like this, actually, maybe it's what I was going to say is the fin on the back and the fin on the sides didn't feel like they were really matching. But looking at this angle, like I don't know, are they? Is it the same sort of like angle? So like if you draw like the back fin like that, and then the
Uh,
angle of the
so this is
wing fin,
the
because
orthographic
this
view right
angle
here.
feels sharper than this angle.
Yep, yep, I see what you're saying. You want something like that?
Yeah, exactly. Yep, like that. Bingo.
Uh, hmm, curious.
Mm, on the side of the wing, yeah, like right there, the way the wings are connecting here, uh,
Oh yeah. I see what you're saying. It's kind of fracked up, right?
mhm.
Yeah, I'll fix that a little bit later.
Okay, great.
Yeah, yeah. That is what I consider to be minor details.
Got it. Okay,
Yeah,
cool. Yeah.
because everything should be straight. That note was good because I didn't do it right, but this little thing I knew I kind of just plopped it on there.
Okay, no problem.
Yeah, but good note.
Um, I'm hesitant to give this next note. If you zoom out a little bit and look at, yeah, at straight on, it's probably fine because I love the proportions as they are, but I was just looking at kind of like this piece relative to the rest of it, and how it feels like I was like maybe that's a little bit small. Like maybe it should be a little bit bigger, so it's a bigger target for the player. But I kind of feel like if we tried to do that, it might make this thing look nowhere near as cool as it is right now. Um, so it's probably fine. And you know what we could do is these things could have very little HP. So
Mhm.
even if it's a smaller target, as long as the player can hit it like once, the thing just, completely blows up.
Sure.
Um, so that way it's still appropriate in terms of difficulty level. Um,
Well, I can make it bigger. I mean,
I guess we just scale it here, huh?
yeah. Uh,
Hmm,
oh shit.
I would say it doesn't look bad, but it doesn't look as good.
Yeah. There's something about yeah. It's very very subtle. Like if you make that bigger, because I guess it has a kind of flow to it.
Yeah, this feels right. Oh, we've got Gentleman Heavy in the chat.
Hey, gentleman
Says
heavy.
a suggestion. Give the drone a slightly larger hitbox in proportion to its actual size. That's a great suggestion.
Yeah.
Thanks, gentlemen. Yeah, that way, that kind of like all the box colliders we were talking about earlier, we just make
Hmm.
the collider for these guys a little bit bigger. So
Yeah.
the player, even if if they don't hit it directly, as long as you get close enough.
Right.
Um, So the gun, I'm surprised at how much I love the gun placement. I think it's perfectly appropriate for it to be there, and I like that it's just like a single one because I was kind of imagining this thing to have like at least three, like two guns on either wing, and then one. Originally, I had envisioned it would be like at the base down here.
Yeah. I was gonna
Uh,
move this right here too.
that just doesn't look as good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like where you have it placed in the middle, like kind of center mass, and because these are like the most basic enemy, maybe it makes sense for them to just have like a single laser that they're shooting at you. So you're not getting
Right.
like completely assaulted by this
Right.
like
Right. Right.
volley of lasers. They've just got like a little pea shooter. And
And
then if we
yeah.
want to, or go ahead.
I was gonna say, keep in mind that this is kind of like the general massing of the shape of this guy, but I will definitely go back in and start, playing with the details and give it a little bit of a nicer looking armor plating. But
Mm-hmm.
overall, the silhouette shouldn't change all that much. But as long as we like the placement of things, then I think that's a win. Hey, Red Line Dragon, how you doing, man?
Hey, Redline.
We see
Um,
you.
Redline Dragon says, looking good. Thank you.
Yeah,
That's
thank you.
kudos to Mr. Lee over there,
Yeah, no, it's
doing a
teamwork.
bang up
Yeah.
job. One thing that I've noticed that's missing from the concept art, which is maybe fine,
Hmm.
um, is those little like horns that we
Oh,
had
right.
in a lot of the concept
Yeah,
that
I
like little horns or antenna or something. Was
we
that
can
an intentional decision?
I left it out because it was starting to get super busy if I started adding extra shapes.
Mm,
But
mhm.
that's not to say we can't have it. Obviously, this is like super.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
just very rough to like
yeah.
see what it's looking like in the silhouette there. Yeah, getting busier. I don't know. I think we might be able to make it work, but how do you feel about it? Do you feel like it's not
Um,
adding and
I
maybe it's
think
taken away
this.
from the
I
simplicity?
Yeah, I think this is a detail that we can worry about later. As long as we get like the bigger shapes. Um,
Man, you are so fast at this now. That's impressive. Good job,
oh,
man.
thanks, man.
You're doing this in real time. Like,
It's a lot of late nights, trying to. Oh, actually, it's not too bad.
yeah,
I
I
mean,
kind of like that.
yeah, it's not bad. Um,
It's
I'll
like he's
definitely have
got
to.
horns, he's a little devil bot.
Yeah, I'll definitely have to finesse it a little bit. but overall, yeah, I think we could make it work.
Um, okay, yeah, let's play with that a little bit.
Yeah.
The uh, this is just something I've noticed. I'm not saying that we should change or go in that direction, but I noticed for the shape, the like overall shape of the head, here it's kind of like this boxy sort of a
Mhm.
shape like
Mhm.
this.
Mhm.
In the our concept art, we'd kind of done this sort of like rounded, sort of like U shape kind of
Right.
a thing.
Right. I
And go ahead.
I stayed away from that because I after doing this, I kind of like this shape a little bit better than this shape because this
Mm,
felt more, I don't know, felt more cartoony. Because if you look at the
hmm
concept art now, it's like um compared to what it was before. Actually, before I do
mm-hmm.
that, let me go ahead and do
All
this.
right, I like that.
Uh, ah, crap. Sorry, I got to move this Photoshop
Okay, no
window
problem.
out of the
Take your
way
time.
and then put this in here. So yeah, well, it's gonna disappear again, but and then I'm gonna put this here. So yeah, I mean, again, I hated what was going on right here because I hated it so much. I kind of wanted to do something different.
Hmm
Because here it worked fine, but God, after doing this for so many times, I just needed to do something else.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yep, makes sense. Yeah, it's looking cool. Like and the other thing too that I think maybe is one of the reasons why it works so well is because that the like head shape uh type or grammar or whatever kind of like
Mhm.
matches the shape type of the
Mhm.
wings. Like
Mhm.
they feel like these belong to the same thing.
Right.
Whereas
Right.
before they
Boxy.
were
Yep.
like kind of clashing with each other.
Yeah. Well, true.
Well, not really clashing, but
I mean, you got
well, yeah. So,
round
so like
versus
here they
straight
actually look
edge.
like they live together.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
well, I mean, what you've done in 3D looks great. I'm not saying we need to go back to the concept art. I was just kind of pointing that. I'm curious why
Yeah.
you made that decision.
And
But I
and
think it looks cool.
I don't have a good answer to that. Sometimes I just do it
It just
and then
felt right.
I just leave everything else and just go with what is new, what works. So, but
Hmm
yeah, I'm glad you like the initial direction so far, and I'll
Yeah,
definitely
and I
keep working at
love
it.
the personality that you added with the fin on the top and the fins on the wings. Those are all
Hmm.
just looking great. It gives it like kind of a spunk.
Nice, nice, cool. Oh, Gentleman Heavy says they are fodder. They're armed with, for all intent and purposes, flashlights. Yep, one gun ought to be enough. Exactly, man. I do like the antenna
Well
though. They
said.
kind of remind me of the eye bots from Fallout. Oh, cool. I
Oh,
should take a
interesting.
look at those and get some inspiration from that. Thank you so much, Heavy. Really appreciate it, dude.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah,
Good
it's
notes.
good. Like all these gamers, like they have so many I actually was chatting with him yesterday when I was streaming that you Gentleman Heavy and a whole bunch of other people, they have such a good idea of design. Even though they're not artists, they can look at something and then they get like a certain feel, right? Because they've
Hmm
been you and they and everyone has been playing video games, and so we've been conditioned to accept certain shapes and certain motifs to be like, oh, for some odd reason, I feel like that works, and that's the reason why you're so important, Michael, to the development of this game is because I'm not a gamer. Obviously I could I could try to feel it out, but because you play a lot more games than me, it's good to have good direction from you and from Gentleman Heavy as well. So yeah,
Sure.
yeah. Um, okay, so
Great
we're
work
done.
overall with this though, dude.
Great,
Like this is slapping.
nice. But wait, there's more.
Yeah.
All right, and then
I love it when
boom,
there's more.
this
Whoa.
there we got this guy going on here.
Oh
This
man,
is
that's awesome.
like remember that 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 note you gave about the bottom of the rail gun kind of like spinning, and this is basically that guy. And so I'm just playing with it right now. Let me go ahead and turn this guy off. And so this is what it looks like. Um, what if I go into rendering view? Maybe it'll look better.
Cool.
Yeah, it looks better. So from far away,
Yeah, that's great. Especially the boxy like side wings give it a unique profile compared to, or a unique silhouette compared to the
the T,
regular fighter
yeah,
drone. Yeah,
right.
yep, that guy. Yeah. And also the undercarriage too, like the regular fighter drone's got like this long needle type thing. So that reads very, very well,
Uh, uh, uh.
both of those.
Nice. Gentleman
Yeah,
Heavy
I think that's
says
great.
Dane got hit with forward ad brakes as soon as you noticed my comments. Oh, sorry, man.
Oh no.
What we were saying is thank you so much for your comments, and I definitely will check out iBots from Fallout. And I also said that you and Michael, you guys both have a really good design aesthetic feel because of the fact that you guys play a lot of video games versus compared to me. I don't play almost any video games at all. I only play Overwatch, and that's about it. But thank you so much for your insights, man. That's really awesome.
And great comment about the flashlights. That's
Yeah,
very
yeah,
appropriate. That made me laugh.
sweet.
Yeah, that's great. The one thing that I'm thinking in terms of like functionality with this guy, with that like thing that's on the undercarriage,
Mm-hmm,
I think we can still do the same thing where you've got that the design where there's like these sort of four little plates that are kind of guarding whatever this thing is here that's going to shoot out of there.
mm-hmm,
I'm thinking maybe that thing ends up being like a missile that can shoot out of there. And
mm-hmm.
then this is like an empty cavity, and then another missile kind of loads in like a torpedo. Um, and then maybe these things, like when it fires, they kind of like go into an extended, like a splayed out position,
Oh, cool.
um, like that. And
Uh-huh.
then as the new missile uh, loads back in, they coil back down or something. I don't really know. But
Interesting.
instead of having,
When it reloads, it coils back down, so we don't see it reloading. And then so when it's ready to shoot, it opens back up with a new missile, and then
oh
it shoots
yeah,
out,
like yeah,
and
there
then
you
it
go.
closes,
It's
and then and magically it reloads, and right.
there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's a yeah, good point. Yeah, it's like a little flower that opens
Yeah.
into payload of death. Um, so yeah, I think that's cool, and maybe that makes more sense instead of doing the like rotating
Sure, sure,
death
sure,
ray
sure.
thing,
Yeah.
which we could still look at later. Maybe there's just a variant of this bot that does that. But for now, maybe we stick with the like slow moving big missile that this thing
Mhm,
shoots out
mhm, mhm,
at a
mhm.
slower pace. So and I really like um the coherence between the two designs, especially with like the head and that fin up at the top. I think we can, again, explore the little antenna things on
Mhm,
the
mhm.
back.
Yeah.
Um, and then the sort of shape patterning of the wings is great. They feel like they're from the same manufacturer, but they're just of a different style.
Yeah.
Um,
I would say something I personally have to work on is since there is a angle here, it's not
mm,
coexisting really well with this. I was trying to push it.
yeah, good
You
point.
could kind of tell I'm trying to. Ah, fuck. Sorry. So getting used to the controls after all these years. Um, yeah, you can't. Hold on. Let me turn on line weight. Oh, there you go. You can see that I'm trying to have a little bit of
Mm-hmm,
angle.
mm-hmm.
It's my fault. I gotta figure out a nice shape to complement its head. Right now it's not complementing really well. The bulkiness of it I like is just this angle right here that I'm not 100% in love with. It's not working really well with the head right here. So I gotta go back
Mm-hmm.
in and work on that a little bit.
Yeah, agreed. And
Yeah,
no problem. Take as much time as you need to get the
yeah,
head figured out.
yeah. So
But it's awesome, man. This is
cool,
great. I'm
cool.
I'm really excited about the direction this is going. These look so fun. I can
But
just imagine seeing
wait,
like,
there's
what? There's
more.
even more?
Hold on,
Man, you were on fire this week.
I'm on
Holy
fire.
crap.
All right,
Man.
so this is the missile guy that we're talking. It's interesting. I'm
Mm-hmm.
looking at it now with new set of eyes. Maybe I
Mm-hmm.
need to move this, all this. Sorry. Maybe I need to just move it back a little bit.
Mm.
Move it back a little bit. And obviously I got to move the missiles. Ah, shit. Move the missiles back
Actually, now
just
that
a
I'm
bit.
seeing this guy, maybe the other dude we do keep the laser beam because it might be
Okay.
kind of repetitive to have like multiple bots that shoot missiles.
All right.
I don't know. We'll think about it. But we'll keep the design for sure. We'll find some
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
game design functionality for it because
Right.
they're really cool. Um,
Oh, so look at it from a very far away.
oh yeah. Yeah, it's got a distinct silhouette from the other two as well. Like that's
Yeah.
great. That's our beefcake
Right,
drone,
right,
which is awesome because it does look quite a bit bulkier than the other two
right.
in the different views. Um,
Yeah. So yeah, any thoughts on this one?
um, I like it, and again, I'm still very happy with the different fins that you have kind of going on here. Those are great. I feel a little bit like the front of these pieces is kind of missing a little bit of the like angular
Sure.
personality that you're getting on some of the other ones.
Sure. Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
I
Uh-huh.
don't think it needs to be too crazy, but maybe, at the sort of like end, like maybe up in this region, you kind of like dial the angle down just a tiny little bit or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Yep. Sure.
Play with it, but right now it feels
Yeah.
really like cut and
Angular.
sharp and
Right.
perpendicular.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Whereas these other guys have a little bit more of a interest to the
Finesse.
different sort of like angles.
Sure.
Um, but in terms of like the proportions and the scale of things, I think that's great. I think it looks really good. Can you spin around to the like 3/4 view, and then maybe
Three.
we'll do yeah, that looks so cool. And then can we do like side profile? And then
Let me
can we do
turn.
yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Great. Yep, that is I'm loving that. And then the rear view. Yeah, cool. Oh, I wonder, in the rear of these ships, should there be like a little afterburner, a little turbine or something?
Sure. Yeah. I could add that. Yeah.
Okay.
They should all share the similar afterburners as much as
Yeah,
possible,
maybe it's
if
like on the back of
possible.
the head or something.
Yeah. Like
So then
maybe
it's in the same
something like
place, same type for.
yeah, like
Yeah,
right here.
exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll come up with
Um,
something.
ooh, and now that I'm looking at the back of this, the angles that, well, actually, yeah, no, the note about this kind of sharp
It's still the
perpendicular
same.
front, I think
Yeah.
still, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But what do you have going on back there? I like a lot. Yeah, I don't really have a whole lot of notes for this. Like, I think make those or explore those couple of changes with the front component, and then maybe see if we can get an afterburner in there. But
Hmm, hmm.
otherwise, I think you're killing it, man. Like you
Cool.
nailed it with these three.
Nice. But wait,
What?
there's
Oh
there's
my
ki-
God.
there's kind of not really. I'm
Kind of
still working
more.
on it. Yeah. Actually, Heavy was oh by the oh Heavy said Hold on. Did I already read? This drone also kind of looks like it could be a recon drone with a missile launcher being a communications suite for detecting a
Mm.
cloaking enemy. Wow, see, this guy's smart. Or to keep communication lines connected or some other game mechanic. That's cool. This drone being the second one, or one
Mm-hmm.
could be a heavy hitting missile and the other being a swarm type low damage one.
Mm.
Nice,
Yeah,
nice. That's great,
very good
man.
notes.
Actually, I'm going to copy and then paste so that I don't forget. Thank you so much, Heavy. Really appreciate it, dude.
Good
Your
job.
notes are very good. Boom. All right, got it. Sweet. Thank you, Heavy. All right, so the last one is obviously not done yet.
Yeah.
It's this guy, and
The supervisor drone or whatever we're calling it.
yeah, it's like a mini boss kind of deal.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't I
Hell yeah, dude.
I mean, from far, hold on. This is kind of bothering me. And then this, and then Control P. I
Whoa.
obviously it looks kind of dumb. It looks really stupid right now. But the challenge is to find out how to connect the wings with the
Mm-hmm.
head, right? Obviously, I didn't do a great job so far. I just kind of made a three thing, and it doesn't look good. But let me just delete that. But this is the start of something.
Yeah.
So when you're super far away, this is what it kind of looks like. I'm sure there's like a connection type of something right here. I don't know what it is yet,
Mhm.
but it's something.
I th I like the direction it's going. The like one major note that I would have here is I envisioned this thing to be a lot bigger.
Okay,
Yeah.
like that bigger or go
At
even more.
least that bigger, maybe even
Okay,
bigger.
sure.
We'll definitely need to like see it scaled into the world with the player and the other
Hmm.
bots. But yeah, I imagine this thing was like, you know, the big mama of all of these
Right,
other little drones in the area.
right. Maybe the head can be a little bit. Maybe it be like
Yeah.
kind of like
Yeah, I
this.
think the head can be smaller for sure.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be so huge. But something along that line. I'm not. I got tired last
Yeah.
night. I was like, ah, I'm going to bed. But
No worries, man.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
everything, like even the very first drone done in 3D, I was like, oh man, bonus, like good job, credit. And then it was like everything after that was just even more extra credit.
yeah,
So
yeah.
good job, dude.
Cool, thanks. Yeah. So I was streaming my modeling 3D modeling progress process
Hmm.
on Twitch, and then Heavy was watching me do this, and he already knew what was going to happen. He's like, ah, I already know what's coming up. I don't need to be surprised.
You
But
already had
yeah,
all the spoilers.
yep. So yeah, that's all I have for this week. And
Fantastic, dude.
so the next thing for my homework is to try to do the hero ship, the based on our comments from the back and the top side, and
Hmm.
then do all the notes that we talked about today for these guys. And maybe I definitely want to take some time and figure out how this connects to this thing right here. But
Hmm.
yeah, hopefully I can do that as well.
Sure. Yeah, because one of the things that was really cool that you did in the concept art, is there were like these drooping
Right,
cables
right,
between
right.
that like that
Hmm.
looked really nice.
Yeah, let me pop that up. Concept art, ships, and oh man, it's been forever. Mini boss. Is it this one? Sorry, my computer's thinking.
No problem.
Yes, this one right here. Boom,
Yeah.
this guy right here. Yeah. So I will do my best
Yeah,
to
that looks
emulate that.
cool.
Yeah. So it's really interesting. Concept art, translating concept art into a 3D model, definitely
Hmm.
it takes like a special skill set because boy, it's fracking hard. I mean, it's like, oh yes, this connection piece. Oh yeah, but if you really look at it, Like, what the fuck is that? It's like a
What is
blurb
that?
of,
Yeah.
it's like a, okay, here's like a connection piece, but what the hell is this thing, right? So doing
Mm,
it in 3D, you kind of have to like know what the hell you're doing. So that's why they always say if you're a 3D modeler, you're a much better designer because you're actually designing it in your head, right?
hmm
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I've heard that from a lot of 3D modelers complaining
Yeah.
about getting 2D concept art. I'm like,
Hmm.
you didn't draw the back of this thing. I don't. What does it look?
Yeah.
I made a little circle here because I noted like I kind of like that, and I'm not really sure exactly what you were going for there, but for me it reads like um if kind of like if you've got the piece like this here, there's like a almost like a little notch in it
Hmm. Hmm.
like this where the
Hmm.
like the screw would go right there, right? And
Sure.
so this is
Right.
like a little hole for you
Right.
to get the screwdriver and
Right.
stick it in there.
Yeah.
Um, so that might be kind of cool. Like that might be a little fussy in the actual 3D model, but I don't know. I like that detail.
Yeah.
But
Nice.
yeah, the thing I love most about this, I think, are these like cable things come
Hmm.
down here. This just give this thing such a cool, uh, like spidery kind of a look. On
Right.
top of the, it's already kind of got a little bit of an insect spidery type look. That's just a extra emphasis. But
Yeah.
yeah, the
Yeah.
thing's special.
Cool. Yeah. Sweet. 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 Yeah. I'm glad you brought that up. So yeah, notice the big difference. I mean, the 3D final model might
Mm,
look totally different than what we have, but I'm gonna try my best to get it in the same spirit, same
sure.
flavor. Uh, Obviously, if we could do something like this, it would be perfect, but my 3D skills is not as good as my 2D skill. So,
I don't know, man. You're doing
fingers
pretty
crossed.
amazing so far. Like
That
I'm very impressed.
thank you, thank you. I'm trying my butt off to actually make this work. So yeah,
You're doing
and I
it.
yeah, and again, I had good company last night, and it was fun. It was fun. So yeah, I'm super happy that you like it, and I will continue on with the 3D modeling effort. Technically, correct me if I'm wrong. I can actually just export these as FBX files, and then you could just plug in into the system, right? And so
Yeah.
you don't just use a
Instead of
ball
using those
anymore.
white spheres, we can,
Yeah,
yeah.
right,
Hell
right,
yeah,
right.
man.
Yeah. So yeah, if
And
you
what we
want,
could
I could just make.
please,
Okay, do you
some
want me
like
to do that?
placeholder ones.
Yeah,
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 like
yeah, yeah. Totally.
first draft, here you go.
Right.
Sure. Because
Cool.
yeah, then the other thing we can do too is I can start playing around with animating vignettes where like
Mhm. Mhm.
you're flying through here and here's where they kind of fly in and like, oh man, it's cool if they like rotate like this because their shape does this thing and having them fly in formation and maybe they're all kind of like rotating in or something like there are additional things that we can start experimenting with.
Right.
Um, yeah, now that we, have like some kind of rough shapes. So yeah, please, that would be really
Okay.
exciting to start
Okay.
seeing those things in there.
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah. Basically, I was gonna say, hopefully your hero ship isn't as cool as our ship that we create, because your hero ship you're using right now is very cool. Oh, Gentleman
Yeah,
Heavy
they did a
says,
good job.
I know, right? Gentleman Heavy says the connection could be made of pure energy. Oh, like tendrils of
Mm,
crackling electricity. Think like the connectors of the Star Wars pod racers. Yeah, yeah, that's kind of cool. It's like a
yeah,
energy. Maybe it could be using like a particle effect system is not a real structure. But yeah, I'll definitely think about it. That's a
sure.
really good thought, man. Really good idea. Thank you so much, Heavy.
Definitely.
Appreciate that. That's cool, dude. Um,
Yeah, good notes.
yeah, so that's cool. Okay, so I have my homework is to attempt to design the hero spaceship as well as cleaning up the mini boss, and if I get to it, I'll go ahead and play with um, the three little guys enemy ships, and then
Hmm.
I'll go ahead and export the enemy ships to you as a FBX file so that you could just pop it in there and as a prefab item.
Cool. Yeah, please do.
Yeah. Ch-
And then yeah,
Heavy.
or
Oh, sorry.
go
Go
ahead.
go go.
3D modeling.
3D model. Heavy says 3D modeling. You have to be good at kind of improving stuff to emulate what the art looks like while taking into considerations the limitation of 3D space. Yeah, It's basically designing in 3D. You have no room to bullshit because it's the space. You're
Yeah.
taking up space.
So you just
So
spin it around and
right,
actually
right.
look at the back. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
It, yeah, it's not like mushy painting.
I
It's just,
right. I'm bad at drawing hands, so my characters just,
yeah,
have their hands
it's
in their pockets or behind them and like,
yeah,
but if it's a 3D model, like, oh, let's just turn it around. Or if it's
yeah.
animated, they're going to be moving around. Like,
Right, right.
you
I'm
can't
sorry.
hide.
You were saying, Michael, your homework?
Oh, yes. For my homework, I'm looking at the here. In fact, we could look at this together. My upcoming list of lectures, the one I'm working on right now, this one was kind of giving me some trouble. This collision for the ship when the ship collides with
Hmm, hmm.
something to, reload the level because it's like, oh, you died. But then I've got some explosions effects that are coming up. Player explosions. So both like when you shoot something, it'll blow up, and then when you get hit, you blow up.
Hmm, hmm.
So I can probably have those done, maybe not by Wednesday, but by next Sunday for sure.
Sure, sure,
And
sure.
then I'm not sure what's going on here. It looks like there's some more under the hood stuff about runtime and public methods and things.
Hmm, hmm.
Um, but for next homework, I'm going to be working on at least these three. So that way, when we're playing the game with your models now,
Yeah.
we'll actually get to see them explode.
Yes, that is so cool. That is
Here we
cool.
go, man. It's coming together
Nice.
bit by bit.
It is definitely coming together. Yeah. No, no, that's the same thing. So yeah, we are in the Q&A session now. Is that okay with you, Michael? Just catch
Yeah,
up,
I think we're
bullshit a
good.
little bit before we leave. If you
Sure.
guys in the chat have any questions for us, feel free to type it out and ask. But until then, Michael, I want to update you on what's been happening on my pins. Um, do you remember on during when we were talking about Overwatch about how my pin manufacturer they kind of screwed up my order? Let
Hmm.
me just go ahead
And a
and show
giant
you.
box of defective units.
Oh yeah, I'll show that to you right now. And open. So,
Oh
do
man,
you see these?
all
Let
of
me.
those? Jeez.
All of these are defective pins, and I'll show you the photos of the defective pins a little bit later. But so essentially,
So wasteful.
yeah. So basically, I ordered 125 of 5 designs, and I told them I need at least 100 good ones. And then so they printed a lot of them, and apparently they just can't get it right. So let me show you exactly what is going on. Oh, it's right
Is
here.
it like the complexity of the design or something? Is this like
No, no, it's definitely not the my design issue. It's something, it's like called
their
corrosion.
manufacturing process looks sloppy? Yeah.
Yeah. Do you see
They're
this? I
using
mean,
impure. Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
There's like
that's like
a whole
pits
bunch
and
of
things where the plating is not taken hold.
yeah. There's like dirty marks here, dirty marks
Yeah, it's
here.
gross.
So I'm just like, can you guys make sure before you send these to me
Wow, that is
that
bad, man.
yeah, that you check them, right? And if it's bad, don't send it to me. Just send me the good ones, and then remake the ones that are not good, right? And then so that was what the previous video was just all the pins that weren't good. Let me
Hmm.
just scroll through really quick. So this one right here is not as bad, but there are still some like little imperfections.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah, looks a little rough around the edges.
yeah, I didn't really take a good photo of this. But you can tell it's not like it's not clean, right?
Yeah,
Um,
because you can see the parts where it's working the way it's supposed to,
yeah, there's like a
where
little
it looks
dust
nice
right
and
here.
clean.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Um, oh, here you go. See, like it's right here. There's like a little rust corrosion in the sides right here. It's just
Hmm.
it's nasty. It's not good. Like look at that. It's awful. So this is what I'm dealing with when I'm, making pins, and it's just a way too high of a risk in making these kind of things. This one has the so the plating is
Ooh,
okay, is not as bad, but you could tell
Yeah.
like there's a little bit of
Mm-hmm.
dirtiness going on in the ink, like right here and right here as well. So that is what is going on. Uh, this one right here, no, it's same thing, right? Like look at these little dark spots right here,
Yeah,
corrosion.
that's
I mean, it's
disappointing.
yeah, it totally is. Like, I mean, just imagine getting like 100 of these and only 20 of them are good and 80 of them are like this, right? And then it's like, what am I gonna do with these? You know, I could sell it as a defective pins, but I don't want to give these out. I want my products to
Yeah,
be good, right? Look at that.
exactly.
So,
Wow,
yeah. There was some good
man.
ones though. Look at this one.
Ooh,
Look,
yeah, that one
so
looks great.
so whoever, I mean, so I emailed them. I mean, there's like a little nick right here, but that's, I mean, compared to all the other ones, that's not that
Yeah,
bad.
for sure.
So they definitely have the capability of making clean pins. So I emailed or I messaged my rep and asked him like, whoever made these, can you just let him be in charge of all the other pins as well? And
Yeah.
yeah, and then so he was like, well, it's all from the same person. I'm like, what? Really? Jeez, man. So it's whoever made this also made the other ones as well.
Hmm.
Yeah. So
Wait, so is it
just
just one person making all of these
I'm
and doing the
thinking
whole
there's
process, or
I,
you got
I
to be a
don't I
team of people, right?
yeah, there definitely
Or
has to be a
shifts?
team, but they are one team, right? And so I'm guessing whoever made all this guy, and also this guy, and this guy, and this guy, they all were made at the same time in my mind.
Hmm.
Like they wouldn't make this one like a week later. They would all make it at the same time.
Yeah, the only
The,
thing I can think of is that, I mean, knowing what I know about Chinese manufacturing processes, is that there's probably some essential step of like, you need to completely empty this vessel and clean it before you put the new product in it, because otherwise it'll be contaminated and then you'll get bad
right.
product out the other end. They're probably skipping a step like that because like,
Mm-hmm.
we don't got time for that. Like just cut corners wherever you can and get the thing
Right.
out as fast as possible.
Right. Yeah.
And
So.
then maybe,
Mhm.
that particular one they had to actually clean the thing before
Mhm.
they
Mhm.
refilled at that time or something.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, that's actually a really good point. Um, hopefully, so basically all these photos that I showed you was sent maybe like a month and a half ago, and
Mm,
they just finished the remade ones, and he sent me a videos of all of them, and the ones that he showed me, they are of this. Oh shoot, they are of this quality. And I'm like, okay,
wow,
good.
great.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm not holding my breath though. I'm expecting
Yeah. We'll
shitty.
wait and see when they
Yeah,
actually
exactly.
arrive and you've got them in your
Exactly.
hands.
Exactly. But the ones that they did make, this is from my part one version. The ones that they actually did make really, really well, uh,
Yeah, those
were
look so good.
were these girls right here, and they turned out very, very well. And I'm very, very happy to be. I mean, there's a little bit of stuff going, but it's so minor compared to what was. Yeah. So again, you heard me, complain and moan about like just the whole production side of things for these guys. That is one of the reasons why I'm trying to move away from pins and then just do uh, tarot cards. However, the tarot
Mm-hmm.
cards itself, they take forever to do, right? I mean, I could design one pin in a day, bam, done,
Mm,
good. But if I'm going to do a tarot card set, it's going to take 78 days, minimum of 78
right.
days to, flush it all out. So yeah, that's just something that I'm trying to figure out on my end is to, what's the next thing I'm going to do after these tarot cards and after these pins? Do I want to do another set of pins? Actually, I do have another set that I'm planning to send out to be made or do another Kickstarter for it.
Mm-hmm.
Let me show you really quick. Starlights.
Oh, Gentleman Heavy says, it looks like the metal is of low quality and the gold chrome plating just doesn't want to adhere.
Yeah,
Certainly possible. I mean, I
that's
don't know
very.
anything about the manufacture of pins. So I wouldn't pretend to know. But yeah, I mean, because it certainly looked like it was chipping or,
Yeah,
not sticking in certain spots.
definitely it was corroding, um, and it's not good. Oh man, unfortunately I don't see Heavy's comment on my OBS, so I'm glad you caught that, Michael. Thank you so much for that. My
Sure.
OBS is not updating. Then again, it looks like I'm dropping a whole bunch of frames right now. I'm dropping 28%. Ugh.
Well, I know on my, like, I'm watching this stream, but it
Mhm.
froze a long time ago. But I just assume that's a problem on my computer, not your
Sure.
stream.
Well, I'm looking at it on my iPhone and it's still going. It's super delayed, but it's still
Uh-huh.
going. So I'm
Okay.
glad that that's still going right now. Uh, can I just shift this over down here? Ah, perfect. So what? You can't see it though. Uh, share screen and scene three. So these are the next girls that I'm planning to do. They are
Oh,
of
cute.
they're from Sailor Moon, and these are the Starlight girls. And yeah, basically this is the four additional girls that I want to add to the set. Um,
Cool.
and, and the question to myself is, do I really want to do it? I mean, the
Mm.
design I already spent a lot of time designing this, and maybe I'll just do this one more time and then I'll stop and then concentrate on something else instead of pins because yeah, doing these is just so much of a pain in the ass.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's so surprising. Well, I get so it should be surprising, but because, you know, we both have experience
Hmm.
working with Chinese production teams, it's not, I mean, that's pretty typical that you cut corners and
Hmm.
produce an inferior product if the customer's just going to accept it. Um, but it should be surprising because you've done so many of these. Like you've done this rigmarole so many times. Like, guys,
Yeah.
this is not acceptable. You know it's not acceptable. I need you to do this correctly.
Right.
And every single time you do another round, it's like,
Yeah.
we go again.
Yeah. Yeah. But for this, I mean, I had like maybe the vendor wise, this is probably like my fifth or sixth vendor. I lost count. Um, but this one that I'm working with, th they have a lot of issues with their pins. However, their rep is very, very on it. And
That's great.
yeah, he's awesome. He's very amazing. And he said, we'll definitely will for example, if we make 100, well, and if only 20 is good, we'll definitely try to get you that 80, and it'll be on us. We'll ship it to you for free. We'll remake it for you for free. That is our company policy, and so I'm like, great. The only downside of
That's fantastic.
that is fantastic. But the only downside of that is that kind of screws up my scheduling. Like, right now I should have a Kickstarter running already, assuming that I've already sent these guys out because I placed these guys maybe like 3 months, long, long time ago, and still it's like it's been delayed for such a long time, and I can't get another Kickstarter started until I fulfilled my other
Filled
Kickstarter.
all
Or
those, yeah.
exactly. Heavy says perhaps it's due to the change. Hold on. Wait. Did you get a new comment from? Oh, yeah, it is. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, now it's updated. Sweet. Perhaps it's due to the changing of shifts too. That's true. One shift might actually be better at being on top of things like cleaning while others are slacking. That is very true too. Yeah, that is true. That's very, very true. By the way, Heavy works at a bookbinding company, if I
Oh,
remember correctly.
cool.
Yeah, and he's also studying German. and
Wow.
and yeah,
Nice.
he's a very well-rounded guy. Very, very cool. Um,
That's awesome.
yeah, and it's so cool to, again, streaming is awesome, is because I get to meet people like Heavy. If I don't stream, then I wouldn't meet anyone at all. So, and yeah,
Totally.
yeah. So that's about it on my end, man. That's the thing that I'm struggling with, and oh, that's right. So I want to tell you that I will probably need 1 week or so to just solely concentrate on pin stuff is because they're shipping it here now. I have to start ordering all the packing material. I have to start taking photos of the newer pins, and then I have to prep the four girls that I just showed you, and then send those off for an estimate. Um, and it's just a lot of admin and pin
Sure,
prepping stuff. So that might take a little bit of time. Uh,
no problem.
eat my little bit of time away, but I just want to just let
Sure,
you know. Yep, yep,
little heads up. Yeah, no
yeah,
problem.
yeah. But
Yeah,
yeah, do you have
do what you got
anything
to
on
do,
your
man.
end?
Um, non like work related, non project related.
Yeah.
Um, oh, well, the Overwatch 2 beta is supposed to start really soon because it's the 24th. I think it starts the 26th or something. If I might be getting those dates wrong. It's very, very soon. Maybe it's the 28th. I don't know. Um, I'm hoping I get in. I still haven't received any sort of like email or anything. I don't know if they've sent any emails to anybody yet, but
Yeah.
supposedly, like, when they announced, like, hey, we're gonna do a, a closed beta,
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
sign up if you want to get in. But I think they're this like first beta because they're gonna do a couple of these things. This first one is it's probably going to be pretty limited because they need to get their like servers ready and they're looking for
Right.
specific types of hardware that people are running. So we'll see, but I don't know. Fingers
Hmm.
crossed because it looks interesting. Like the feedback that's coming out of because like certain streamers and YouTubers have gotten access to it and are
Hmm.
now allowed to like share the content. So they're like
Mm.
actually playing the game and
Hmm.
sharing
Hmm.
video of it and talking
Nice.
about their thoughts about like, oh yeah, here's the changes and here's what's happening. And it seems really cool. Like I'm really like I want to try Doomfist as a tank.
Yeah.
Like that seems pretty cool.
Yeah.
I'm really curious about Orisa because I've never liked playing Orisa as a tank,
Hmm. Hmm.
and now she's like supposed to be crazy OP, and she's got like a javelin that
Hmm.
she can throw. She looks neat.
Cool.
Um, so yeah, so I like yeah, really looking forward to it. Hoping I get in, but in the
Me
meantime,
too. Me too. Me too.
yeah, I hope we can both get in because
Yeah.
yeah, that would be a real bummer if it was just one of us. But hey, if that does happen, we should Discord stream for the others so that way we
Oh,
could at
definitely.
least
Definitely.
participate.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so the archives missions are running right now. So when we get off here, I'm going to try to get a little bit more archives
Oh,
action before
yes.
it goes
Yes.
away.
Yes. Let's definitely do that.
Um,
Yep.
and yeah, other than that, just doing my thing. Oh, um, one of my friends, well, actually, hold that thought. We'll talk about
Okay.
that offline.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, I guess that's it. Oh,
All right.
Gentleman
Awesome.
Heavy
Oh.
says it was lagging quite a bit on my end as well, probably referring to the stream.
Yeah. Sorry
But
about
as
that,
for
guys.
yeah, sorry about that. We're working on it. Well, I say we. It's really Chris. I'm not really doing anything
I'm
to fix the
stumbling
stream.
through it.
I'm I'm just cheering him on.
Yeah.
Gentleman Heavy also says, but as for the rail shooter Q&A, do you have a Kickstarter or plans on starting one? Do you want to take that one, Chris?
Yes, we definitely will be doing a Kickstarter for it. However, I will need to talk, I think we need to have a discussion as to how we're going to do it and as to why we're going to do it. Because I mean, a Kickstarter is a plans to raise money, but why are we raising what's the reason why we're making raising the money for, right? Because essentially it's just me and you on our computers designing. But if we want to do something special, for example, like getting our now I'm thinking about it, in order to maybe hire someone to do a certain task that we don't know how to do, like
Yep.
marketing, um,
Or music.
music, um, what else? XYZ, whatever it is, right? Maybe we need more money to buy extra assets of like you said, music and so that I play piano, but I'm not gonna freaking compose a background music for it,
Yeah.
right? So I
Put
I
another
don't know
hat
how to
on,
do that.
Chris. We need
I
you to
know.
compose an epic soundtrack.
Yeah, yeah. And then, we want to raise enough money to, maybe hire a web designer for our game. Maybe I don't know. There's Michael and I have to talk a little bit more about it, but definitely a Kickstarter is and will be needed if we decide to push this game even further than what it will be. Um, yeah. Thoughts, Michael?
Yep, I pretty much agree with everything you just said, and I think that's a conversation we're going to have. Right now, the current focus is just getting one sort of like prototype level done, what we call like an MVP, a minimum viable product, which is the the end goal of that, or how we know that we're done with an MVP, is it's basically the first level of like a finished game with like all of the sound effects and all of the visual effects, the game mechanics, it's a completely functioning first level to act as sort of like a proof of concept of like, is this game fun? Do people like this? Are people excited about this? Is this something we're excited about continuing? And if that is the case, then the next piece of the like bigger project is to decide, okay, well, what do we do? Then maybe it comes to the case of like, okay, well, we really like this. We've got this first level. We have a vision for where this is going to go. We can expand this to another 14 levels. So we'll have 15 total. But in order to do that, we're going to need, these various assets.
Hmm.
And in order to ensure that we are spending our time wisely, it could be appropriate to start a Kickstarter just to see if there is enough interest. Like, are
That's
people
true.
actually excited enough about this for us to
That's
do this?
true.
Or does it make sense for us to say, hey, we, released something on Steam or whatever, and now we're going to move to making a new game or starting a new project because we
Hmm.
have
Hmm.
quite a few ideas for projects in addition to this rail shooter. So yes, I think the Kickstarter is something that's probably going to happen and that we will talk about in the future. But right now, we are completely focused on getting this MVP first level done. So
Yeah.
good question
Yeah.
though.
Yeah. Great question, Henry. Heavy, not Henry. Heavy. I don't know why I want to keep calling him Henry. Gentleman Henry. I don't know. Heavy, heavy,
Hmm.
heavy. But yeah. Pro- Remember that movie Hardcore Henry that you took us
Oh
to?
my
That
God.
was
Yes.
that
Yep.
that was an insane movie. That was I mean
Yeah.
I totally enjoyed it. It was violent as hell, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. But after a while I started getting a little bit of a headache. Not a
I
headache,
think
but
we
I was just
all did. Yeah.
yeah, it was just like,
You're
whoa,
starting
this
to
is
get
crazy.
sick just
Yeah,
from
but
all the motion. You're like,
exactly. But the concept of the movie is amazing. Like a first
mm-hmm.
person, like a real time game going through action,
Yeah.
fighting, punching, and how gory it is. I definitely should watch it again. I'm see see if I could find it and just see how once I watch it again and if my whole mindset have changed or not. Yeah,
Sure.
yeah. Uh, anything else, Michael?
Oh, Gentleman Heavy also says, like,
Oh,
I
see,
guess
I'm
regarding
not.
the Kickstarter thing, and if so, would you consider doing STL files for the drones for 3D printing as stretch goals?
Yes, 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 and yes, definitely. Unfortunately, I apologize, Heavy. I don't see your comment. My OBS is being really stupid right now, but I do see it on my phone. And what you said and what Michael read, definitely yes. I will not only be putting STL files on there, but I will also do a few digital prints, 3D prints of the little whatever assets that we make, like all the fighter jets, mini boss, and hero ships, I could do a 3D print and maybe make a mold of it, and then have a reward section if you guys whoever is interested in getting these little models, go ahead and apply for this reward, and then I can make them and I can ship it all to you guys. So yes, wow, good ideas, man. I love it. I love where your head is at, Heavy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
good stuff. Keep it coming.
yeah, sweet.
Um, yeah, I think that's about it for me.
Nice, nice. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and call it a night, and we will be back Wednesday
Yep.
in
Next,
3 days. Next
yep.
Wednesday.
And just FYI, we are here every Wednesday and
Mhm.
Sunday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Um, learning how to make this video game. So
Nice,
if
nice.
that sounds good to you, join us.
Nice. And if you guys want to reach me, you could always reach me at chris@leaddesignstudio.org. Follow my Twitch .tv/Lead Design Studio. And a really quick plug for myself is that I'm trying to raise 100, or no, I'm not trying to raise 100 subscribers. I'm trying to get 100 subscribers so that I can have my own custom YouTube URL. And in order to do that, I need 100 subscribers. For those of you who have already subscribed, such as Heavy, thank you so much. I really appreciate it, and I'm very very so grateful for you guys doing that. And Michael, how can the people find you, sir?
Well, I have twitch.tv/mlwelker, though I'm not very active. I'm not active at all there yet. It's a brand new channel for me, so I'm still gonna get that up and running. Um, but probably I also have a website, mlwelker.com. There's not a lot going on there either. But I do have a book out. So if you're interested in reading more of my content, Blockbuster Blueprint is available on Amazon.com.
Right here. Yep, you guys can see it.
Awesome. You should be able to
Yep,
see it on the screen.
yep.
Um, and I have other books that I'm planning to write in the future. One that I'm working on right now that's very applicable to kind of what we're working on is like a book about creativity, which hopefully will be out later this year. But I'm so busy right now with
Hmm.
learning computer science stuff, like basically learning how to be a developer of software and video games. That way we can make this stuff.
Right.
That I might need to push that book to next year. But yeah, stay tuned though. I'm
Hmm.
hoping to get my Twitch channel up and running soon, and then we can talk about cool creative stuff there as well.
Yeah, and I can't wait for us to talk about like movies and how to adapt your book, using your book and talk about the various movies and see
Totally.
what are some of these elements that are essentially found inside the book, and how they used it, right? All the different characters, the different types of arcs, different stages of the story, how it progresses, and the highs and lows. So everything's in here. So if you guys, it's on Amazon right now, and I believe it's 9.99, and it's super affordable. It's very very informative. If you want to become a super awesome writer, go and check it out. All right, cool. That's it. Sweet. So
Thanks, Chris.
we will both see you guys. No problem, man. We will both see you guys on Wednesday. Hope you guys have a great Monday and stay safe, stay healthy, and take care of one another. Okay. All right. Thank
Thanks
you,
for
Bandit
being here.
guys.
See you
All
guys
right.
next time.
Bye.